The emergency lights flickered red across the observation deck as another tremor shook the derelict station. Elliot pressed his back against the cold metal wall, clutching the thermal blanket he'd salvaged from the escape pod wreckage. Somewhere in the darkness behind him, his daughter Clara was counting her breaths, a trick he'd taught her to stay calm during their mining runs through the asteroid belt. "Papa." Her voice was steady despite everything. "The oxygen meter says for hours." For hours. Elliot closed his eyes. For hours, until the air ran out, until this tomb of twisted metal and broken dreams became their final resting place. The Zarati Empire's flagship had torn through their civilian transport like it was paper, and now here they were, survivors by accident, not design. A sound echoed through the corridor, not the groan of stressed metal or the hiss of escaping atmosphere. This was different, deliberate. Footsteps. Elliot's hand moved instinctively to the plasma torch at his belter tool. Not a weapon, but it would have to do. He stepped in front of Clara, shielding her with his body. The figure that emerged from the shadows made his breath catch. She was nearly 7 feet tall, her scales shimmering between obsidian and deep violet even in the dying emergency lights. The Dragon Empress. Elliot had seen her face on every newsfeed for the past 3 years. HFY, the Eternal, Supreme Commander of the Zarati Armada, architect of humanity's near extinction, and she was bleeding. Green blood seeped from a gash across her shoulder, and her right wing, magnificent even in its damaged state, dragged behind her at an unnatural angle. Her golden eyes, said to have witnessed the death of stars, fixed on Elliot with an intensity that should have turned him to ash. Instead, she swayed, stumbled. "Human," she said, her voice a rasp of authority stripped bare. "I require ... assistance." Clara's fingers dug into Elliot's jacket. He should run. Should take his daughter and flee deeper into the station. This creature had ordered the bombardment of Earth's colonies, had called humanity vermin and evolutionary mistakes. But she was also dying. "Papa," Clara whispered. "What do we do?" The Empress's legs buckled. She caught herself against the wall, leaving a smear of green across the metal. Her scales, Elliot noticed, had lost their luster. Whatever had happened during the battle, it had taken everything from her. "Please." The word seemed to cost her more than the wound. The cold. "Your kind tolerates it better than mine. I need another tremor." The Empress fell, catching herself on her hands and knees. Her breath came in ragged gasps, and Elliot realized with a start that she was shivering. The station's environmental controls must have failed completely. For a cold-blooded species like the Zarati, hypothermia would set in fast. He looked down at the thermal blanket in his hands, then at his daughter, then back at the creature who had destroyed everything they'd known. Clara tugged his sleeve. "Papa, remember what Mama used to say. We're human. That means we choose who we are, even when it's hard." Elliot's wife had died in the first wave of attacks. He should hate this being. Every rational part of him screamed to let nature take its course, to watch the architect of genocide freeze in the dark. But Clara was watching him, learning from him, and despite everything, despite the rage and grief and loss, he was still her father, still human. He knelt beside the Empress. "This blanket is all we have," he said quietly. "It's keeping my daughter alive." Javera's eyes met his. In them, he saw something unexpected, understanding, and resignation. "Then use it for the child," she said. "I will not survive regardless. My wing is..." The breach in the hull came too fast. "When my command ship exploded, she stopped, another shiver racking her frame. "I accept my death. Human, protect your offspring." Elliot looked at the thermal blanket, then at Clara. Then he made a decision that would have seemed insane hours ago. "Clara, come here. We're going to share." He spread the blanket across the floor, helped the Empress lie down, then guided Clara to curl up against one side. The Empress stiffened, her warrior's instincts clearly screaming danger, but she was too weak to resist. Elliot lay on her other side, pulling the blanket over all three of them. The heat differential was immediate. The Empress's body was cold as stone, leaching warmth from the blanket, but Clara was small enough that the three of them could share the limited insulation. "Why?" Javera's voice was barely a whisper. "I destroyed your worlds, killed your people." "Why would you?" "Because my daughter is watching," Elliot said simply, "and I want her to grow up knowing that being human means something, even when it's stupid, even when it hurts." Silence settled over them, broken only by the occasional groan of the dying station. Minutes passed. The Empress's shivering slowly subsided as the shared warmth stabilized her core temperature. Clara dozed fitfully, her small hand clutching both her father's jacket and the edge of the Empress's scales. "Your mate," Zhivara said eventually. "She died in the attacks." "Yes, I am... Sorry." The word hung in the darkness like a foreign object. Elliot almost laughed at the absurdity of it. The dragon Empress apologizing for genocide while huddled under a blanket with her victims. What happened up there? He asked. Your flagship mutiny. The word was bitter. My second-in-command believed I had grown soft, that my orders to spare civilian transports were weakness. He attempted to execute me and claim command. She paused. He failed. But so did I. Elliot processed this. You ordered us spared. The war was won. Further slaughter served no purpose but cruelty. ZHVR's golden eyes reflected the red emergency lights, but I learned too late that the cruelty was the point for many of my commanders. They enjoyed the hunt. Another tremor. Stronger this time. Clara stirred, mumbling in her sleep. The station won't last for hours, Javera observed. Perhaps 2, I know, yet you chose to share your warmth with me instead of spending those final hours with only your child. Clara needs to remember that hate isn't what makes us human, Elliot said. Love is, choice is, even stupid, irrational compassion that makes no tactical sense. For the first time, the Dragon Empress laughed a weak, rasping sound, but genuine. Your species is insane. Yeah, Elliot agreed. We really are. The lights flickered once more, then died completely. In the absolute darkness, 3 beings from 2 species lay huddled under a single blanket, waiting for rescue that might never come. And in that darkness, something shifted, not the metal of the dying station, but something more fundamental. If we survive this, Javera whispered, I would hear more about what makes your kind so magnificently, terribly human. If we survive this, Elliot replied, you're welcome to stay for dinner. Clara's sleepy voice drifted up from between them. Can she, Papa? I think Mama would have liked that. In the cold, dark tomb of humanity's near extinction, Elliot smiled. Yeah, sweetheart. I think she would have. And in the darkness, the Dragon Empress, conqueror, destroyer, architect of genocide, whispered a single word that changed everything. Thank you.